Today's a special day. It doesn't come around all the time. You need to make sure that you don't waste it. Don't allow it to be for nothing. You've earned this. You've earned today. So play hard. Play hard. No regrets. Are you ready to play? Are you ready to play?
Yes, sir!
Bring it in. Hello, man. Merry Christmas and welcome to the Quickscreen Show. This week's episode, straight from my living room. It is Christmas morning and my kids are running around. My wife is, I wish I could say she's relaxing, but she's cleaning. She's just, things were messy on Christmas morning. She's got to clean. So she's cleaning, and I'm making the Quickscreen Show. I'm going to make it nice and quick, I hope, just because it's Christmas morning. And I'd like to get on to some other things. Today I want to talk about pregame speeches and just give you my 5 tips for pregame speeches. Several years ago when I was at Johnsburg, I was an assistant there. I was the sophomore coach, and it was a big playoff game. And my head coach, now that I really think about it, I can't believe he let me speak. But he let me speak to the kids. I had just read the book Gates of Fire, which is about the 300 Spartans at the gates of Thermopylae. And of course, I was very inspired by it. It's an incredible story, an incredible book. Not so comic-y like the movie was, but an incredible book. Obviously, I was very inspired. And we were big underdogs going into that game. And I gave a speech, and it was an incredible hoorah speech, probably the best of my life. And to this day, when I run into kids from that team, they still talk about that speech. And in the many years it's been since, probably 7 or 8 years since that speech, often I'm trying to, in some moments, I really want to create this type of mood, aura, atmosphere for our pregame speech, because once you feel what that atmosphere is like once, you want that atmosphere for your players all the time. But I've learned some things over time for my pregame speeches and when to do what. So I just want to share some of these tips with you. Number 1, know your audience. I think that if you are coaching, hi Grant, thank you for standing behind me. If you are coaching 8-year-olds, you may not want to have the let's go get them, let's kill them, hit them as hard as you can, because you're not dealing with kids that have hit puberty yet. That testosterone isn't flowing. They're not in the let's kill them mood. It's just not in you. You don't have the aggressive chemical makeup that you as the grown man have. You were just playing your Fruit Ninja on your iPad 8 minutes before game time. You're just there, and maybe you're happy to be there, and maybe you're there because Dad's making you, but you're there. And the same token, if you're coaching high schoolers, I think it might be important to remember, or me personally, I try to stay away from the let's just have some fun. If you think about it, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they've been working their tail off for you every single day, sweating, bleeding. They've been telling about how important everything is, and then they go out for the game, and I think sometimes we may devalue it a little bit by saying, now let's just go have fun. That's, in some ways it seems contradictory. Are we here to just have some fun, or is there some importance to what we're doing? And so I think it's just important to consider that and make sure that you know your audience. My second tip would be to inspire the kids, don't enrage the kids. Football is a very physical sport, and we all know that. And I think it is great to have those 1 or 2 kids on your team that they're a little bit crazy. It's a little bit off. There's a screw loose, and they don't really have too much concern for their own well-being. They're going to knock the snot out of somebody. But for the most part, the game is really, it's an incredible amount about execution. And to execute, you have to have your wits about you, and I think sometimes as coaches, we may get a little carried away, and just maybe here in youth coaches, my own sons is the only thing I can go off of, and not even necessarily my son's youth coaches, but it might be the opponent they're about to play, and I'll hear their coach, and it's just, he's going crazy, and you may see something on YouTube, a YouTube video, a guy just going crazy, and I think maybe we're just enraged. And not everybody feels how you do. So I think it's important to make sure that whatever you're saying, work to inspire your athletes, to encourage them. Let them know you can, you can, you can, rather than let's kill, kill, kill. So there's a fine line there, and I think it's important to be aware of it. Tip number 3, speak what you feel now, which means you can't plan too much. Before every game, I'm going to say something, and sometimes they're hoorah, and sometimes they're pretty calm, and I think that's okay, and I learned that was okay after reading some books and reading a lot about Chuck Noll, the great Chuck Noll of Pittsburgh Steelers, how most of his pregame speeches were just, fellas, you're ready for this? This is business. Let's go take care of it. It was simple. And once I read that, I realized that I didn't always have to be yah. I could just speak what I'm feeling now. And the second thing that I've realized about speaking or in front of kids or people is that if you don't truly feel it, truly feel inspired, but you're trying to sound inspired, man, people can read through you like that, and kids can read through you. They're not inspired by just inspiring words. It has to be coupled with true inspiration. And inspiring words without inspiration it's just words. It's like reading that blank page. It's like reading that page in a book over and over and over. Your mind is somewhere else, but you're reading the words, and it's not going to inspire you. And I've learned that over time as well. And so I've learned I don't really plan what I'm going to say. I may have a quick idea that I'd like to come in with. Maybe I wanted to reference something that I had been thinking early that day. But you really can't plan too much, because I found that when you do, it seems forced. And once you force it, you've lost inspiration. And they're not going to be inspired. They're just going to kind of nod. And they might tell jokes about it later, about how what you said was silly. But if you only just speak what you feel, and if you're not feeling rah-rah right now, don't talk rah-rah. Just start talking. Man, we have worked every single day for 30 plus days in a row for this moment. This moment. Just start talking. And if that talking, then, if you truly just talk and speak what you feel, it will build, and it'll build. And you'll just feel your energy building and flowing. And the next thing you know, man, you're pumped. And you're excited about what you're saying. And now you're speaking loud, and now you're inspiring the kids. And it's loud. Just what you wanted in the beginning, but you didn't force it. You only say what you feel. And if you're saying what you feel, and it never gets to that rah-rah point, that's okay. It's all right. Don't force it. And I think you're going to be better off if you don't. That leads me right into tip number 4, which was don't force it. So I kind of skipped over and just combined tips 3 and 4. But the second thing I wanted to add in the don't force it thing is this. If you don't really feel like I have this rah-rah moment, don't be afraid to pass on that rah-rah moment to another guy. So maybe we'll make that tip number 4. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to allow someone else to inspire your team. Just like I said, 7 years ago, my head coach allowed me to step in and inspire the team. And it was a great moment, and it was a great moment for these kids, and it's something they'll always remember. And I need to personally, I've got to remember that as well. This year, as a head coach, was the first year I ever actually said to my assistant, do you want to say anything? Go ahead, get them pumped. I finally, and it was like game 8. So this is something that it's taken me time too, because you can't force it. I wasn't feeling like a rah-rah. There was nothing really I wanted to say. I thought we were ready to play. So, you want to say anything? And at that moment, he actually said, I don't. So, we said something simple and we went and played. So, tip number 4, don't be afraid. If you're not feeling it, don't be afraid to allow someone else to inspire your kids. And tip number 5, know when to stop. This is something I've had to learn, and I still am learning. A lot of my assistant coaches, they give me a hard time because I talk a lot. Now, obviously, I wouldn't have my own internet coaching show if I didn't talk a lot or have a lot to say. So, yeah, I can kind of go on, and I think I've gotten better. I guess you'd have to ask my assistants to know whether or not I have actually gotten any better over time. But you do. You have to kind of put the brakes on yourself and allow yourself to say, I'm done. What I wanted to say is done. I'm done. And avoid avoid repeating yourself. A lot of times I had an administrator once upon a time. God, I obviously don't want to mention his name. I had an administrator once upon a time that loved to tell stories, but the story never ended. Even though the story had an end, the story never ended because he would just say it again and again. Literally maybe the same story 4 times. Couple different words here or there. So he would turn what could have been a 5-minute speech into maybe a 25-minute speech. So don't be afraid to stop. Have you said what you wanted to say? If the answer is yes, say stop and say, let's go get them, boys. Men, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a happy anything else that you happen to celebrate. It's been fun, and we'll see you in a week. Before I sign off, ChiefPigskin.com, the new release, the kind of newfangled, everything should be fixed in about 1 week. My goal is New Year's Day, January 1st. So enjoy the new layout as it comes. Man, it's been fun. Thanks again. Chime in on the forums, please, wherever they are on whatever site you're on. Quickscreenshow.com, ChiefPigskin.com. Find forums. Chime in, join me, and have a Merry Christmas. Till next time, coach 'em up.